All right, have and have not fans, go ahead and like the video, hit subscribe, click the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out when I post new content. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. For this particular video, I'm going to be talking about the Malones. And not to, this isn't trying to come across as a rant video because I actually like the Malone family. I think this season, up until a certain point, did a great job kind of pushing them to the forefront. And to be honest, their story was actually far more interesting than the rest of the main cast members, who felt like they were sidelined for one reason or another, probably just to stretch their story out. But I think that, yeah, the Malones should get their own series. And I'm still promoting that. I think that they definitely should. But I think that what Tyler Perry did was something that in the anime or movie or nerd culture would say Tyler Perry nerfed the Malones. If you don't know what nerf means, it's a term for like when you take a powerful person or group of people and or an item and then you depower it for one other reason, for the sake of the story. If you're a Pokemon fan, look at Ash in the Diamond and Pearl series, where Pikachu fought hard in the Sinnoh region and he ended up tying with a Latios. But then at the beginning of the Black and White Universe series, he actually lost to a level 5 Snivy. If you are a Marvel fan, here's a good example. You know how Thanos was unstoppable with the Infinity Gauntlet? Now, just imagine at the the ending of Avengers Infinity War. He had won. He snapped his fingers and whatnot. He beat the Avengers. Thor could have killed him, but he didn't. And then at the beginning of Endgame, Thanos just is decapitated, and that was it. Like, he didn't have the gauntlet because he got rid of the stones. He was heavily injured from, using the stones as much as he did. And he was easily incapacitated by Bruce Banner in the Hulkbuster armor, Captain Marvel, and then Thor with Stormbreaker. He just got one arm cut off, then decapitated. And it's like, wait. That's the guy who was the big threat for the MCU for several movies, and then he's killed off in the first 15 minutes of Endgame. That's literally the definition of nerf, where you have a powerful, seemingly unstoppable force, but they get defeated easily just for the sake of storytelling. So with the Malones, you had Mama Rose, who finally came back after being gone from the series for 2 or 3 years. And it's like, wow, her back and forth with Catherine were some of the best scenes in this season. But then all of a sudden, Mama Rose decides to retire, and then Vinny's in charge. I'm not saying Vinny isn't the right choice, but it's like it just felt completely out of place. Just the fact that we finally get Mama Rose back. She's got this rivalry, so to speak, with Catherine, and just when you think things are going to heat up, I'm going to retire. Wait, what? And then we had like Sal Malone, who I believe is supposed to appear before the end of the season. You got like Sal Malone, you got a couple other Malones we met along the way, and we've had scenes where groups of Malones are going down hallways in the hospital, or saving Vinny, or at the bar or whatever. But now all of a sudden it's almost like Tyler Perry has nerfed them to, hey, Mitch and Sandy are the only Malones left to carry on the family name, to take over the family. Wait, what? Because Vinny was mentioned to have 5 kids, but maybe because Vinny's kids aren't old enough. So it's probably good that they have maybe 2 or 3 Malones of age, so to speak, who are groomed to take over the family reins if something were to ever happen to, let's say, the person in charge. But since Mitch isn't in the family, then all pressure's on Sandy. But it just seems like I don't really know the ins and outs of mafia families, like talking about. Like, I did watch The Godfather one time, and that was for a cinematic arts class. And I mean, Vinny goes on about how the family's in danger if it isn't, working at full capacity, because I don't want any blacks or Jews to take over this family, which does hint, because Tyler Perry probably left the breadcrumbs for other mafia families out there. I mean, the cartel from If Loving You Is Wrong, I really wish they would bring that into the fold, which again would connect the haves and the have-nots, and If Loving You Is Wrong. But it just seems like when you had what once seemed to be like a big group of Malone members, it's like, okay, we're only going to focus on these three now: Mitch, who isn't even part of the family, Sandy, and Vinny. And it just feels like the Malones as a group, I feel like they are a whale in a lake. Like the Malone family, they're the whale, and the haves and the have-nots in terms of the show itself is the lake, because the Malones arguably took over the series for a good chunk of this season, or at least during the back half. But now it's like with each passing episode, it's like they're kind of losing steam. Like, I'm not saying I'm not interested in the story anymore, but I just feel like they are being depowered to the point of defeat. Like when you have Mama Rose leaving to get Vinny in charge, and as soon as Vinny's like, we need to turn up the heat, I'm like, that's probably not the best move, because that's probably gonna, what do they say? Like a candle burns most viciously right before it burns out. So I feel like by turning up the heat, but you don't have the firepower to back it up, because that could explain why Vinny's going even harder on Sandy for not living up to the Malone name, because if he's trying to turn up the heat to kind of reestablish the Malones, being like the most powerful cartel in their area, and they have a weak link, that's not going to sit well, because that's just going to make the whole family look weak as a result. So I really do think the Malone family does have an interesting story to tell, but I don't think the haves, and I think in a way they've kind of outgrown the haves and the have-nots. What I mean by that is there is enough potential for a show, because I mean, look at Ruthless again, arguably the best show Tyler Perry has put out since he's teamed up with Viacom, depending on who you're asking. If you ask me, it is. And we only got a hint of the cult during the first couple episodes of The Oval. And then when you move forward from there, Ruthless kind of feels like it's almost completely detached from The Oval. Like if Roof didn't show up towards the ending of season 1 of The Oval, or Tally didn't show up during like the midway point, I would almost forget that Ruthless is even connected to that show, just because there's so much going on in that series, because I feel like it's more self-contained, because there's not like 5,000 characters to juggle storylines around. So I feel like with the haves and the have-nots, I almost feel like Tyler Perry wants to do a spinoff, so he's almost like testing the water. Like, again, I'm not inside the man's brain, so I don't know, but I do feel like maybe in a way he's kind of testing the water to see, okay, let's see what the fan reaction is to the Malone family now if I put them kind of towards the front of the story, and will they be strong enough to carry their own show? I think they are, but it's not because it's just the Malones. You can definitely introduce more of these other cartels and do like prequel episodes, like a younger Mama Rose with Catherine's, well, technically a younger version of the Malones, where you have Mama Rose's mother and Catherine's father, Mama Rose interacting with Jim, how they first linked up, things like that would be great. So with that being said, I do hope that they don't get nerfed too bad, because just looking at how the Malones are now, I could possibly see them being brought down either by another cartel or by the feds, because we know they are still under investigation by them. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you like the Malone family? Do you agree with me in terms of how they feel a bit depowered or nerfed now, just for story writing purposes? And if there was a prequel series or a spin-off series with the Malones, would you watch it? So with that being said, if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month.